Hello there, Durin. I'm finally back from my trips down in the south and investigating that black book that we found in Yarnfast.
You have returned, my friend.
You've returned! I did not know when your adventures to the south might release you, but I'm pleased it was sooner and not later. It's good to see you again. Truthfully, things have not been going as well as I might have hoped. I have been trying to ease tensions among the dwarves that have come to Scarhold, but it has not been easy. The Longbeards, Jelruka, and Stoutaxes here have taken exception with each other, even on trifling matters of little importance. All three of these dwarf companies suffered grievous losses at the teeth and claws of the Frost Horde under Karazgar's direction, but we have seen no sign of the worms since you departed. Well, hopefully have taken care of, at least temporarily, of Karazgar, but I suppose we'll have to find that out sooner or later. The Weeping Warrior himself has not reappeared in that time. Do you know anything about that Pine Leaf? Well, I did have a little conversation with him, and I get the impression that he's decided to go elsewhere for now. Oh, good, but now it falls to me to get these dwarf clans working together, and that is no easy thing. Perhaps you can ask members of each family what they think I should do on their behalf. Stout axes, Jalruka, and Longbeards up the stairs where here in Scarfall are sure to give you their own opinions on the subject, and it may help me to decide how to proceed. All right, I shall speak with them, and with a little bit of luck, we shall learn what they think about the Legacy of Durin. Ah, I found Kovo, one of the stout axes.
Durin wants to know what is to be done.
Uh,
Ha!
I could tell you this stout axe has a recommendation or two for Durin, but I do not think he's prepared to hear them. I am a stout axe pine leaf. Of all the dwarves in Middle Earth, we have endured the greatest trials. I dare you to say otherwise. Considering what you went through in Mordor, it would be very difficult to top that. I'll have to grant you that. Many were the torments Sauron devised for our great king when Drassa did not submit, and his people were enslaved. But we kept our honor, though we toiled without end in Mordor. Well, at least the ones that are here kept their honor. I think a few of them stayed back, unfortunately. Yes, and now that the Dark Lord is gone, the Stadaxes have emerged to take what they will and what we deserve. So I say again to the dwarf princeling, ha! What authority has he to command any stout axe? He fought against a frost horde. So did all of us at Scarhold. I count his deeds there no better than any of ours. He will need a dozen such victories before he has matched even the least of my own. Very well. We can see what his opinion is then. Let's see if I could find a long beard and a Jelruka and find out their opinions on the matter. Well, oh, here's Gloin. Hello there, Gloin. And Durin wants to know if you have any advice to give him on the current situation.
You and I belong here in the mountains, courting danger and unafraid.
Well, I see what your opinion is, yes. It seems we share the same affliction, my questing friend. Most of my companions have gone home, satisfied with their adventures. But you and I belong here in the mountains, courting danger and unafraid. Well, considering that I just spent time in Minas Morgul, I suppose, yes. Courting danger is quite true. I know there's a place of honor set for me beneath the lonely mountain. But no matter how great the feast, I would still feel the emptiness of my belly. Only adventure can sate my appetite now. My son Gimli will discover this hunger runs in the blood, if he is not already. But from your recent tales, I know that he has. Yes, 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 he has gone through quite a bit too. Yes, Durin is seeking now advice on about the what you would give him from the various dwarves of Scarhold. Yes, I would tell Durin to treat carefully with the Joruka and Stout Axes who have come here, for they're not his people and care little for the Longbeards. Each of these kindreds defended Scarhold when the Frost Horde attacked, and each suffered losses. But there are fewer Longbeards here than Joruka, and although the Stout Axes were few in number to begin with, it seems to me that more arrive every day. Durin must be aware of this. Let him keep the Red Axe near at hand. Ooh, right. Oh, yes, the Red Axe. After all that time in Mordor, I completely forgot about that thing. Now, what about Bornek, the Joruka?
Durin is no Jeruka. That much is clear.
Durin sent you to ask what should be done? He's no Joruka. If Botu's Frostblood were still alive, he would not ask such a thing. He would simply tell us, and in no uncertain terms. Woe be the dwarf who did not comply with his command. The Longbeard Prince is still as green as spring in the lowlands. He would do well to keep to himself and leave the Joruka alone. We are not to command, though we must inhabit Scarhold together for now. That will be for a short time only. Durin will soon tire of adventure and return to his father's halls. Beneath the lonely mountain he will live well, while we Joruka remain here, sleeping on the cold stone and dreaming of Gundabad, the home that has been kept from us. He knows little of the Joruka and cares for us less. I find it distasteful for him to pretend otherwise. Well, yeah. Well, I think I better speak with Durin. In short, the Stout Axes believe that they suffered the most. The Joruka have absolutely no respect for you. And as for Glowing, he says keep that axe nearby just in case anything goes wrong.
Are your tidings as grim as I fear they will be?
Yes. I came here too hastily, Pineleaf. Each of our people suffered losses when the Frost Horde attacked, but there were never that many loyal Longbeards at Scarhold to begin with. I only assumed command because there was nobody else. Without a strong leader to unify each of the dwarf clans here, I fear the Grey Mountains will prove a grave cairn for all of us. They might still, but now it is not drakes of the Frost Hordes I fear. I fear the disloyalty of the Joruka and the Stout Axes. Is there not betrayal in the history of both clans? I need more loyal royal warriors to reinforce me. I ask you to return to my father at the Lonely Mountain and request that he send as many Longbeard warriors as he can spare. Too many were lost when the Frost Horde attacked, and I would not have us outnumbered by foes. Ooh. Well, this is getting chilly mighty fast. I think I better head to the Lonely Mountain and see what Thorin says. Your Majesty, I bring a message from your son.
Welcome back, my adventuring friend. What news of my son?
What news do you bring of Durin? Has he brought the heels of Joruka that traveled without leave across my lands? Well, I'm afraid that there are a large number of Jorukas there, and that bringing the heel would be a non-trivial task, shall we say?
I do not like this at all.
Yes, I don't like this. Not every dwarf clan is good-hearted, and treacherous wicked dwarves have troubled the Longbeards throughout history. Our cousins in the Blue Mountains could speak at length about the exploits of the villainous Dour Hands. Yeah, I ran into them myself. And theirs is not the only name of ill repute. Durin will have his reinforcements. I will command the assemblage of a Longbeard army, the like of which has not been seen in 70 years. Do you think this unnecessary? I assure you that it is not. I will not allow my son to be outnumbered by Joruka or Stout Axes. The Joruka have long quarreled with my people, and the Stout Axes could not have remained thralls of Sauron for so long without it affecting them deeply. You remain unconvinced? Go then to Nabgun Mazaru, the home of Stali the Hewer, southwest of the entrance to the dwelling halls, and ask him about the Grey Malls. Then you will see the importance of caution, even amongst dwarves. Especially amongst dwarves. Okay. Yeah, there is definitely some history around here somewhere. And I think, yeah, let's speak with this Stali. This must be the right place. If this isn't a sculptor's home, I don't know what is. Hello there, sir. The king sent me to learn about some history of treachery amongst dwarves.
Welcome to Nabgun Mazaru, stranger.
Yes, are you a patron of the arts? I must confess to you that my hours are quite full, with a number of half-completed works already. If you desire a painting or statue, perhaps to decorate your home, it will be some time before I'm able to get to it. With that understanding set forth, what would you like? What? Information on the Grey Mall Dwarves. Ooh. Why should they occupy Thorin's thoughts? Better to forget they ever existed, lest you doubt the decency of your closest friends and family. But I will not disobey the king under the mountain, and will speak of them to you. They were ancient dwarf traitors in the first age who rebelled against Durin the Deathless, father of the Longbeards. Their leader was named Motsog, and he led the Grey Malls in a bloody uprising against Durin. For a time, the Grey Malls ruled Durin's holdings, but it did not last. Durin returned and put Motsog to the death, and the rebellion was quelled. I've been restoring a mosaic of this very event, if you would like to see it. It's over there against the wall. It was damaged during the residency of Schmog, and once I've finished repairing the stones, I will return it to the hall where it once stood. It will once again serve as a reminder that treachery is always rewarded with justice. Mm-hmm. Ooh. Yes. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So I will presume then that this is Mozart and that this is Durin. Right? Quite a mosaic. Really nice looking. The mosaic depicts the death of Mozart. Still needs repair, but yes, the subject matter is quite clear.
That mosaic stood in the hall under the mountain with many others for hundreds of years.
Yes, it stood under the hall of the mountain until the coming of Schmog. It was not kind to it at all. Schmog ruined the thing. Many of the stones were lost, and it's been time-consuming process to recreate the mosaic as it was. Well, it looks pretty nice so far. Love to see it when you're finished with it. But when Stolly the Hewer commits to such a project, he sees it through to the end. Yes, you will.
Long, long ago, before the mountains were shaped as they are now, Durin awoke in the caverns beneath a mighty peak.
He awoke in the caverns that join two great mountain ranges of the north. He looked to the peak and gave the name we have revered ever since, Gundabad, the mountain home. The fathers of other dwarf clans began to awake elsewhere in Middle-earth, after that in pairs, but he was awoken first of all the dwarves, and alone, and we revere him as the father of the Longbeards. We are Durin's folk, and our claim to these lands springs from he who first awoke beneath Gundabad. In time, other dwarves awoke to accompany Durin and to serve him, but his closest friend was a mighty warrior who helped delve the great halls beneath Gundabad. Legend tells us this friend was also the first dwarf to brew mead and later ale, but do not think so well of him. He it was who would take the name Motsog and leave the Grey Malls in rebellion. But that will still be some years away. The servants of Morgoth in those days were a constant threat, and together Durin and Motsog fought bravely to defend the mountain home from them. But Durin grew restless. He desired a place where the Longbeards might know peace, and so he set forth to search for such a haven. He named his dear friend Motsog the Lord of Gundabad, a decision that would come to regret, and departed to the sacred mountain. Do you see the statue there? It was one of my first pieces, and I dare say one of my finest. I hope to capture some small portion of Durin's majesty as he set forth on his journey to what would become the site of treasured Khazad-dûm. So this, then, is Durin the First. Stolly the Hewer takes a great deal of pride in the sculptures of his creation, but none more than the statue of Durin the Deathless, who awoke during the first age of Middle-earth. Yeah? Quite a nice one. Quite impressive. Very well. He's certainly more skilled than modest.
I can see you are an astute patron of the arts.
Ah, thank you very much, my friend. I can see you're an astute patron of the arts. I agree that I have done an excellent job of capturing Durin's heroism and majesty. Ha ha ha. Durin the Deathless he was called, for he possessed a great span of years, and it seemed he would never die. It was not so, for death comes to all, even to the very greatest of dwarves, and yet we Longbeards believe that Durin comes back whenever the dwarves need him the most, reborn into a new form. It is true, he was come back to us 5 times during the long history, and we therefore count each Durin in a single line, from Durin the First, who awoke beneath Gundabad, all the way to Durin the Sixth, who perished in Khazad-dûm to shadow and flames. Some folk believe that the Thane of Thornstone him may prove to be Durin the Deathless Reborn, a 7th Durin to lead us into the future. I hope that's true, Pineleaf. I have been planning a statue of him, and it would be a shame for the work to come to naught, but I have spoken too long already, and should get back to my endeavors. Return to King Thorn with my good wishes. Very well. Back to Thorn. I could understand your caution, sir.
Starly spoke to you of Motsog and the Grey Maul Rebellion? Good.
Now you see how even good-seeming friends can turn traitor, and why it's so important that my son be surrounded by Longbeards he can trust. I have commanded a great force of loyal warriors to go with you to join my son in the Grey Mountains. Durin will have his reinforcements. And what will be the outcome of this? Perhaps we'll find that out in the next episode of The Legacy of Durin.